And with me today, I'm joined by the glorious Liane Marie Lambert, who is a spiritual mentor, energy alchemist, and best-selling author of Karma to Dharma, a new age guide to becoming superhuman. Blending mystical insight with grounded experience, Liane helps people clear karmic cycles and activate their Dharma and live at their highest vibrational potential. With a holistic MBA, multiple coaching certifications, and a background in business, entrepreneurship, and motherhood, Liane brings both depth and relatability to her work. Her teachings bridge the spiritual and the practical, making complex concepts like energy alchemy, karmic entanglement, and 5D Ascension both accessible and actionable. Liane's mission is to awaken individuals to their divine magic, showing them how to transform dense energy into light, turn limitations into liberation, and consciously create a life that reflects their true essence. Welcome to the show, Liane. Such an honor to have you here, my spiritual soul sister, it seems.
Thank you so much for having me, Anu. This is a pleasure for sure.
Oh, Liane, honestly, I'm so wowed by your bio and just the amazing work that you're doing. And it'd be great for you to introduce yourself and your journey to my listeners and just explain what led you to this line of work that you're in today.
Thank you so much. Well, I am a single mother in Northern Ontario, and my journey first, I will say my conscious journey first started at the age of 27 when I was hit by a double-decker bus in London, England, and my skull was fractured in two. And I did have a out of body experience, and I walked out of that hospital 3 days later. True miracle. I That for me was a life-changing moment because I started to question everything. My reality, what is the whole point of coming to Earth and having this human experience? And from there on, I started to just look for that fulfillment and joy, which I thought came from external sources. So, following this, I had two marriages, and they both were very eye-opening because it wasn't. I'll put it this way. I had everything that I thought I wanted: the health, the children, the trips, the support, the security, financial security. But there was a depression in me. There was a hole inside that I just could not fill. And so that's when my journey really began. I knew that I had survived that bus accident for a reason. And I still had this unfulfillment, even though I knew deep down I was doing all the right things. So, this is when I dove deep into studying energy and how we can ignite that light from inside, and started to clear the karma, which really are the stories that I attach myself to, and recognizing and taking ownership that I really was attached to so many low vibrational identities of myself, and stories of being a victim, and never enough. And I'm sure so many of your listeners can relate to this. And it was through the dismantling of all this that I was allowed to, well, that I freed myself and I stepped into my purest vibration and was able to activate that source of light from within. And it's a subtle thing in energy when we're sitting. If you sit still in the energy that you're holding, most of us are constantly absorbing, looking for something outside of ourselves. And as I started to dissolve all this and transform and start to identify with something, with my highest self, my soul self, and started to raise the vibration of my body, and also my thoughts, it's interesting because the energy started to shift and reverse, and it feels like it's expressing outwards now, almost like the sun well, it is like the sun that's radiating.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And so you've spoken about a channeled universal law, like the law of karmic entanglement. How did this come to you, and what does it actually reveal about why people stay stuck in repeating patterns?
Well, the law of karmic entanglement came to me when I'm very close to my spiritual team during a long period of isolation where I started to remove people from my life that it just wasn't healthy for me. I started to really take notice of the projections that were coming my way. So a lot of people say the right things, but if you really tap in, you can feel that the intentions behind the words are often very different.
Mm,
So I started to just pay attention to it. If it triggered something in me, um, like unworthiness or not enough, then it would stick. And as I started to alchemize these thoughts and beliefs into one of a higher vibration, it felt like I was freeing myself. And so the energy as it works is whatever is projected will return to its source unless it attaches to an external source. So as I started to elevate and no longer agree to these stories that were being projected at me, then that energy boomerangs back to the sender,
mm,
and I would hold my high vibration outside of it. And so as I started to really explore this and examine this, I started to think of the world and how so many of us are caught in these entanglements. And as we truly become committed to doing the inner work and rise above it, then the people who need to see that energy, because that's the energy that they're projecting, will be forced into their awakening because they're creating their reality. So this is why it's so important that we take ownership over our own journey and the inner work that's involved in that.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, fantastic. And what was your biggest personal karmic loop to clear, and how did you actually break free from that?
Ooh, that is a good question, Anu. There are so many, but I would definitely say feeling responsible for other people.
Mm,
And it is very challenging because it is very tied into my purpose. I want so badly to help others, but recognizing that stepping in and intervening really is delaying their growth.
mm,
So when I pray and wish for another, I pray for their accelerated evolution, that they see what they need to see and feel what they need to feel in order to grow. Because intervening, trying to help somebody else really isn't helping the world collectively. And they're going to be faced with that lesson at some point in their life.
mm. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic realization because so many of us we try to fix people and we enter into these relationships where our partner may not match what we're after right now, but we feel like we can mold them into something that we want. And
Mhm.
fortunately, that's not always the case. So yeah, I think that's a really great lesson.
Right. And it's about us becoming whole ourselves,
Mm,
because an old belief that I had was my partner is my better half,
oh,
or holds all the attributes that I personally do not hold myself, and together we're a super team. But no, that is false, and it is very much codependency, and we need to become all the things that we want in our partner and become whole and complete ourselves and hold those standards high so that eventually we will attract a partner that is in alignment with the energetic vibration that we're holding.
so true. Yes, I love that. And so, yeah, basically, we need to be what we want our partner to be before we can even.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Take ownership of it.
yeah, absolutely. So, for those like new to the concepts of karma and dharma, What's the actual difference between these, and how do we know which one we're currently living from?
Well, the majority of us on Earth are living in the third dimension, which is very karmic in nature. Now, karma isn't a bad thing. It's just the energy we're putting out is creating our reality. And so many of us just aren't aware of it. So we're stuck in these loops, and these same lessons keep presenting themselves, whether it's with different people wearing different meat suits, as they say. But the lesson is still there. And in order to step into 5D, which is a world outside of fear and all these low vibrations, or a world of Dharma, we need to dismantle and break free from all the low vibrational energies that are keeping us in these lessons.
Interesting. Thank you. So, what steps can someone actually take today to actually begin clearing their karma and aligning with their dharma?
Just to stop ignoring the the patterns, the loops. Just open your eyes and to not identify in complacency. Oh my God, I can't pronounce it. Jump in, if you will. But we do become complacent, and we do and comfortable with the world that we're living in, and it doesn't have to be that way. And to recognize that just because you showed up one way in the past, you always have a choice to show up differently the next time that lesson presents itself. So a simple thing would be to recognize the patterns. I'll speak as a mother, because that is my first, the most important role that I'm taking on right now. And noticing the same arguments, the same patterns that are happening between me and my teenage daughter, and sitting down and having a heartfelt discussion and pointing out the pattern, pointing out the loop, the same argument that keeps presenting itself, and then recognizing, okay, how am I contributing to this situation? How is she contributing? And then both committing to shifting into responding to that situation instead of reacting the next time, and coming at the situation differently. So letting go of old patterns and old identities, and really taking ownership of, I can present myself differently the next time.
Beautiful. Thank you. So, there's a lot of talk about manifestation online. What do you feel most people actually get wrong about this?
I love this question, because most people don't realize that we are all already incredible manifestors, but we've just been manifesting from a low vibration. And that was the one of the biggest wake up calls for me, was to really recognize that I did hold a lot of fear or depression in the past. And if you want magic to enter your life, and blessings to come in, and to truly have that peace of mind, you do need to do the inner work.
Mm,
So we think that manifestation is about, okay, I'm going to manifest opportunities in my life or things outside of myself. But the truth is that as you raise your vibration, it's the energy that is currency that will create these things. As you become healthier and more vibrant, you will attract the people, the opportunities in your life. So to take ownership over your life, because you already are a super powerful manifester. You just don't recognize it yet.
true. Yeah. Wow. I love that. I love that. So it's all about manifesting from a higher frequency and just raising our internal vibration. So how would someone go about doing that?
I'm not going to say, well, it could happen quickly, I suppose, depending on how much inner work you've done. But again, it comes down to what I was saying earlier about really recognizing what your home frequency is and challenging what that is. And you can clear your energetic field just by aligning yourself with high vibrational music and reading high vibrational books and aligning yourself with high vibrational thoughts. We need to constantly alchemize and the thought patterns and the belief systems that we're holding. And I do believe in the power of an affirmation. And if you say it enough until it really you start to embody it, there's zero resistance in your body. You just know that you are whole and complete and vibrant. Then you know that it's shifted. So it is a daily process, but it does require us to be accountable. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you hit mute for a second.
Thank you so much. Yeah, amazing. So I know you touched on the 5D. So the shift from 3D to 5D can actually sound quite abstract. And how would you actually describe that in practical everyday terms?
3D is very dense. It is fear-based. It is what we know. I don't really need to touch on that further. Where I really want to put emphasis on is that 5D reality. It is sitting in a place where you almost become an observer to the world and how it's being run. You are recognizing where people are speaking from. They're speaking from their programming. They're speaking from their belief systems. And when you are in 5D, you recognize that it is limitless and that you can be everything and anything that you want. It is very expansive and it feels very, very much separate from that 3D mindset because there is no fear and it holds everything. It's powerful and limitless.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I know that before we actually hit the record, we did speak about grief recovery as well. And obviously, when we talk about grief, it's kind of grief from a loss of a relationship or it's grief of somebody who has passed away. But it's very interesting what your take on grief was, if you'd like to explain that.
My For myself, it was grieving my former self.
Mm.
And I've held a lot of roles in this lifetime. I've also suffered through two losses from two failed marriages, and I've of course lost loved ones in my life as well. But for myself, grief really is about letting go of who I thought I was, who the individual that I became through my experiences, through the imprinting that was put on me through as I grew up, through society, and to let go of all that because that former self no longer exists, and then to step into the celebration of I get to be anything and anyone that I want to be. And so to no longer be attached to a past that no longer exists and to start to really live in the present and the now.
Mm. Beautiful, thank you. And so, how can people actually stay grounded while expanding their spirituality, and especially during times of collective fear or uncertainty, which exists in the world today?
By, well, for pausing.
Okay.
Pausing and detaching, I think, are two really instrumental tools. Because as we detach and start to look at things from a higher perspective and hold these higher states of consciousness that comes through by elevating your frequency, you start to see that everything is exactly right. Everything's happening for a reason. And it does require pain. It does require tower moments in order to push people into their evolution. So to not resist it, but to detach and try and tap into what is the meaning behind this? What is it that I need to see in the situation that I'm not seeing? What is it that is this for myself or is this for somebody else's personal evolution? And to just allow things to unfold. One of the hardest parts of ascension is to release attachment and just trust and allow the laws of the universe to just do their thing, and it will bring everything into balance if you just start to observe and witness it all fall into place.
Beautiful. So yes, it's just to just pause, just calm down. Nervous system regulation comes into effect then as well, and to just try and stay present, I guess. Yeah, beautiful. So let's talk about your book. Show us your
Yes, I'd love to talk about my book. I actually just recorded the audiobook, which was so much fun because
Wow.
I was able to relive every download that I had, and to be able to share it through my voice. That is a frequency transmission in itself. And for those who don't enjoy reading or don't have the time to read, there's short chapters that you can listen to and receive all the goodness from it.
Oh, amazing. So it's out available now on Amazon.
It certainly is. Yes, it
Perfect.
is.
Amazing. That's great. Thank you. And I will be dropping in the links in this episode. And tell us about the fact that, you've mentioned that you're a mother, you're an entrepreneur, and also you're, a spiritual guide and leader. How do you actually balance your soul's work with real world responsibilities for those out there who may be struggling right now?
I focus on what I can control.
Mm.
And by truly living in the present, it is the secret to doing so. So instead of worrying about all the things that I need to get done later on in the day, if I'm making lunches, then I'm focused on making the healthiest lunches I can with what I have, and putting my all into that. If one of my daughters needs my attention, to take the time to just be there and be present with her, whether I'm in an interview with you or working with a client. I focus on just showing up as my best self in every now moment. And you can't fail from this place. If you are committed to always being the best version of yourself and holding grace for the times that yes, you did react, or yes, you did respond from a low vibrational place, but to recognize that it's done, look at what needs to be seen from that situation, what triggered me in that moment, and always being honest and real with yourself, and then getting back in the game and tackling the next now moment from that highest place, because we can switch it up at any moment in time. And it is through our mindset that we do that.
Mm, it is, absolutely, yeah. And are you kind of working with clients internationally?
I am right now working on a workshop that coincides with the book, and it will be an online workshop that will be in the new year. So
Yeah.
if anybody would love to work with me and I don't know if people are into coaching or not. I would imagine that they are in the UK for sure.
Yeah.
But this is my joy. This is my love. It's everything to me. And I like to do processes, meditations to really connect people to energies and how they can alchemize the energies that they're holding uh,
Beautiful.
through in the
Oh,
process.
amazing. Thank you. And are you available online? I know that you got a website and
I
any.
have my website, and yes, you can reach it. I'm very active also on Instagram, but if you want to email me directly through the website, yes, absolutely. I am open to working with anyone that resonates with me.
Perfect. Thank you. And finally, so if someone listening right now feels stuck in old patterns or pain, what would you want them to know right now?
That you hold all the power to transform your life and just be willing to let go of the stories because we're never stuck and our freedom is only a frequency away. Remember that you were born pure, whole, and complete. And yes, your experiences have shaped who you've become, but they do not define who you are becoming. So to be open to transformation because it is real. I am proof of this. And that joy, that laughter, that bliss is at your disposal. It is your birthright and you can learn to harness it yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for those beautiful final words. And unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. It's been such an honor having you on and for you to share such wisdom with my listeners. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Anu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's all we have time for today, my beautiful listeners. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please do reach out to Liane if you have any questions about any of the work that she's doing. And again, I'll be dropping all the links in this episode for you to also go and purchase her book. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Stay blessed, my friends.